Welcome to the Kingdom Podcast, featuring Commissioner Christine King, where all voices are heard.
Welcome to the Kingdom Podcast, where we discuss all things Miami and all voices are heard. I am your host, Christine King, Chairwoman of the City of Miami Commission and Commissioner for the lovely District 5. Today I am joined by our Police Chief, Manny Morales, and I'm so happy to have them. Everyone that knows me knows I am a big supporter of our men and women in blue, and our chief has made some significant strides since his tenure as police chief. Welcome to the Kingdom Podcast, Chief.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's a pleasure to be here.
It is a pleasure to have you. The first thing I want you to do is tell everyone how you appointed the first Black assistant chief female. I know you had to give it a different name, but walk me through that.
So I've been with the police department for 30 years, and it's been 3 years since I was chief, and I've taken over as chief. And as you mentioned, when I got promoted, I worked with some incredible folks, not only throughout the career, but lately here in the department. We have a fantastic executive team, and I could not be more prouder than the men and women in blue that go out each and every day and put their lives on the line to keep Miami safe. So, I find myself in the need of a right-hand person, a number two, that would help me kind of do the day-to-day operations of the department. So back in the beginning of the middle of 22, I was able to promote Cherise Gause. She was my assistant chief, which is a 2-star. You see I wore the 4 stars
Yes.
as the chief of police for the folks at home. And I was able to create another position that is the first assistant chief. So it's a 3-star position, the number 2 in the department, reports directly to me. And then under her, she has the 3 divisions, one for field operations, which is patrol and special operations, K-9 and the Marine Patrol. Then you have administration, which is everything that folks kind of think has nothing to do with policing. So personnel, payroll, administration, training, all those good parts of the department that keep us moving, keep the wheels turning each and every day. And then you have investigations that does the follow-up on the cases that Patrols creates the report. So she was the first Haitian American female to be ascended to that position. So very proud, and it was a great moment for me, and me and Chief Gause have an incredible relationship. We've known each other for the better part of 30 years. We work together in street narcotics. You form a very tight bond when you do that dangerous job that you go after the worst of the worst on the streets. And the only bad part is it was short-lived, right?
Well, it's bittersweet because from there, she is now the police chief of the city of North Miami, and she's the first female to be a police chief in the city of North Miami. So I'm thrilled. I consider her a friend. I worked with her. You've been the only police chief that I've worked with since my tenure as an elected official, and I happen to think of you as my friend as well.
Absolutely.
And I love the job that you're doing. I love the focus of community policing, involving our community, working with the community. But when you gave an opportunity to Cherise, and not because she was a woman, but because she was qualified, because she was the right person for the job, I couldn't be prouder to be a part of the city of Miami.
Yeah, I was about to say, don't paint me as a saint, because there was a little bit of a selfish reason there. She was absolutely the best person for the job, and having a good, solid number 2, it is something that benefits you, right? Because it's somebody you can lean on when I go out of town, or I have to take care of business, or in this career, in this profession, you don't have many days off, right? You're on 24/7. My phone doesn't stop, whether I'm in town or out of town. I'm always responsible for what happens here at the city of Miami, right? So having someone that I can trust to leave behind and be in charge of the police department and the safety of the citizens of Miami, it's priceless to be able to find that.
It is. And I understand that because even as an elected, our phones don't stop ringing. Although we are part-time, there's not.
I've yet to see you guys take it as part-timers.
There's no part-time. I call you all times of day and night. We have, maybe I need a family to be placed who is temporarily houseless, and you never not take a call.
Or
and
you have some kayakers that need rescuing off the bay, you know.
That is true. I called you immediately when I saw some kayakers in trouble on the bay, and immediately you respond and got Marine Patrol out there and saved the day. Who's your number two now?
So I don't have one, right? Since Cherise, maybe I'm still in a little bit of a shell shock since Chief Gause left. But right now I'm just kind of mentoring, coaching, and kind of guiding the folks that I have. So I have Chief Chiquita Butler in charge of operations and field operations. I have Chief Richard Perez in charge of investigations, and Armando Aguilar in charge of administration. And
they're a good bunch.
Yeah.
They are a good bunch. They are a good bunch. I've had an opportunity to work with all three of them, and they're responsive, they're compassionate, it's a good team. It's a good team, and I believe our statistics are reflecting that you have a good team. What are our statistics looking like?
So I always like to, kind of tell us where we came from, so we can appreciate where we are now, right? And as we talk about community policing, I kind of take you, and I take folks through Miami through the ages, right? And I don't know how you've been in Miami your entire life?
Not my entire life. I was born in Guyana, but I was educated here, so I've been here.
So I got here in the 80s.
Longer than I haven't been here.
Yeah, so I got here in the 80s. I was made in Puerto Rico with Cuban parts. Came here in the early 80s, and that was the height of the cocaine cowboys. You're at the heels of the Mario boat lift in October of 1980, where just about 125,000 Cubans came to our shores within a span of almost just about 3 months. So crime back then was out of control, to the point that we made a famous cover of Time magazine, which called Paradise Lost. So we were the murder capital of the USA. In 1980, we had 220 murders, right? As we went through the 90s, and I came into the police department in 1994, and I kind of look back, and that's 30 years ago, but it's not that long in the life of a city.
Right.
We're talking about a metropolis. And kind of looking back, in the 90s, we would average about 7,000 to 9,000 robberies. I can't even imagine what that amount of violence would have looked like each and every day.
Oh my gosh.
And just to give an example, in 1994, I think we had 9,200 robberies, right? Last year we had 540, right? And our populations has doubled.
It
We're
has.
at 225. We're just shy of 500,000 now.
Yes.
Even though if you look around, I think we're way past 500,000 when you look around and you drive through the streets of Miami. But
particularly in Wynwood.
Oh, man. Wynwood and downtown. Don't even start me talking about I-95. But as we're talking about the murders, we went from 51 the year before to 31 last year. And this year we're keeping pace with that number. So we're looking to not only beat that 31, because we're conscious that even though we celebrate that mark of 31, that's still 31 individuals that lost their life, right?
Right.
That's 31 families that were devastated, 21
It's
friends
31
that
too
will never
many.
be the same. Yeah.
It's 31 too many. And we do have some gang activity in the city of Miami. And recently, we've had some gang violence that resulted in murders, drive-bys on the street. And it's jarring. It's jarring. I know there was one incident, and I was leaving my office, and I literally missed the shooting on 7th Avenue and like 58th Street. Just missed it by a few minutes. And, you don't want to see anyone, you don't want to see anyone lose their life. But I believe that you have already apprehended several individuals that were responsible for that, taking guns off the street, drugs off the street. I unfortunately get a briefing on everything that happens in my district, and that happened in my district. And I was surprised that I didn't know what drugs look like.
So, July 1st, right? That was the last time that we had any type of gang violence related homicides. It was a horrible day that day. At the incident that you're talking about, there was an individual that was driving northbound on 7th Avenue, was ambushed. I mean, it was a targeted attack. They waited till he pulled up on a stoplight and got off their vehicle and shot him. And maybe 2.5, 3 hours later, we're still investigating the first one. We get another one right at Northeast 2nd Avenue around 52th Street. Same, involving the same gang. We don't believe that they're related as to one another. However, they were involving the same group of people. But what those two horrific murders or those two incidents did for us was it kind of opened up the window through our investigation to a larger problem that we had, right? So we were able to, we served somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 search warrants in that one case alone. We were able to take probably about 50 guns off the streets, and a very, very sizable amount of narcotics and cash were seized. I mean, it went all the way from, most of the search warrants were not in the city of Miami. Well, we've seen now that a lot of these gang activities coming out of Broward County and in the northern portions of Miami-Dade County. But one of the offenders, maybe about a month ago, we served the last round of warrants on that case. And the last warrant, we served 6 simultaneous warrants, and one warrant was right outside of Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, wow.
So that's how far the reach goes. And I tell our folks, listen, we're going to work each and every day arduously to make sure we bring justice to the families of those that have been, unlawfully taken. And it doesn't matter the distance, doesn't matter the time, it doesn't matter how hard it is. But we're going to try to bring some sort of closure and justice to the families.
Which brings me to your community policing and the things you do with our youth. Because I believe if we have positive activities for our youth, that we have programs and services for them, while they're little, they won't grow up to become members of a gang. You have the PAL program.
Absolutely. So I kind of think the same, right? When you're looking to the past, and those are some of the things that I kind of have to fix my lens every once in a while, right? Because I go to a lot of community meetings, and we went to one last night in Midtown, yes. and as you're sitting there, I kind of listen to the complaints, and they're a lot very synonymous, right? We're talking about loud music, we're talking about traffic, we're talking about homelessness sometimes, right? And I'm thinking to myself, man, just maybe 20 years ago, we're talking about robberies, murders, shootings, so I kind of see the progress, and I always have to remind myself, you have to adjust, right? Because what's important for the department, it's what's important to our community.
Exactly.
And one of the things that I've seen is, like, before, our strategy or our approach to policing was, we're going to go into your neighborhood, we're the experts, we're going to tell you what you need, we're going to tell you how your community needs to be policed. We don't do those things anymore, right? We go and we listen to the folks that live there, and we determine what is the best way to achieve the results on the problems that they perceive, whether that'll be, a homeless in the corner, whether that be loud music on a Saturday night, whether that mean the loud mufflers or those street takeovers I've been working so hard to kind of avoid. So it kind of all ties into this, we are the community and the community is us.
Exactly. And that's part of the Kingdom podcast. That's my slogan. All voices are heard. That's Constituent Tuesday, where you can come and see me. You don't need an appointment. We go out to the meetings, because we can't serve the community if we don't listen to the community, if we aren't responsive to the community. And there's so many wonderful things that have come out of that. We have every year National Night Out, where the community
Which we just
comes
did
out.
back in August.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about that.
So National Night Out every August. I think we did it August 15 or 16 this year at Shenandoah Park. We kind of split it throughout the city. We kind of found out that when we spread our resources thin and we were trying to do it in a little bit in every district and every area, we didn't see that amount of participation that we kind of wanted from our community. So we're focusing on every year. We're rotated throughout the city. So this year we went to Shenandoah Park down in Southwest 22nd Avenue and 19th Street. We had a great turnout. We had music. We had a lot of community support agencies that came out, and we had a dunk tank that they
I saw that.
They talked me into getting into a dunk tank.
I saw
and
that.
I was pleasantly surprised to see how many people got in line to try to dunk me. And man, let me tell you, those kids were trying real hard to dunk me, and a couple of them got me. My executive officer was one of the first ones. He got in line. I guess I might be a little bit rougher of a boss than I thought, and he got out there and he dunked, but all for a good cause, and we had a great time. So I love it when we're able to bring the community and the police together under positive circumstances. I think it's a win-win.
Yes, it is. And it shows unity as well. It shows unity because police across the country get a black eye at times. And we recently had an incident at the stadium where one of our footballers was stopped and wasn't treated with
Dignity and respect.
Dignity and respect, right? And, I've heard the complaints and I've heard some criticism that maybe he behaved like an entitled celebrity. But that, I don't think, was a fair criticism because anybody could behave like that. I could behave like that.
Correct.
You can't get cranked so easily. You are sworn to protect and serve. And so if I didn't put my window down as fast as you wanted me to, or I asked you a question, I could tell you in my life before I was an elected official, I would definitely challenge an officer for pulling me over. Why'd you pull me over?
Yeah.
Or why are you asking me to do this? That's not part of the rules. And I remember I was in my 20s, I got pulled over. And the officer was writing all of my information down on a notepad. And he asked me for my cell phone number. And I said, why are you asking me for my phone number? And why are you writing this down on a notepad? And he said to me, ask me another question and I'll arrest you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I believe that our City of Miami Police Department, with training, with good leadership, we have an awesome force. There's always a bad apple here or there.
Of course.
And I've encountered one personally, but on a whole, I believe that the City of Miami Police Department is doing an excellent job. And one of the things that I love about the police department is that we have neighborhood officers, NROs, I believe you call them, neighborhood resource officers, where they get to know the neighborhood that they're policing, and we have commanders for each of the neighborhoods. And I know all of the commanders in my district and most of the officers, and the community knows we can reach out. They come to meetings with me, like last night. And I don't know if that's unique to the City of Miami Police Department, but I like that each neighborhood, every district has commanders.
So we, since 1992, a little bit before I came in 94, but they kind of made a determination to split the city up by neighborhoods. So we have 13 distinct neighborhoods that kind of have the way that they're organized. They have something very much in common, whether it be a neighborhood, a geographical area, certain very noticeable boundaries, whether it be I-95 or the Miami River, something that's easily manageable and that has some sort of contiguous connection to one another, right? So those 13 neighborhoods, ideally, they're thought of to want to be run like very small police departments. So each neighborhood has a commander that has autonomy to a certain degree of what happens in that neighborhood. and they have officers that are assigned to them, and one of them are the neighborhood resource officers, and those guys are supposed to be that conduit between the police and the community, right? So if you have an issue with your neighbor, you don't need to be calling 911 every time and getting a different cop telling you the same story over and over, right? That's when a neighborhood resource officer is supposed to go and listen, give you some sort of direction of how to get some remedy to the situation, or maybe even better, kind of mediate the situation and kind of mend fences between neighbors. The same concept goes for the problem-solving team. Each neighborhood has either one or two, depending on the volume of calls and incidents that an area has, where all they do is address the specific problems of that area. And it's wonderful because it's in the name, right? So whereas Little Havana might have problems with whether it be homelessness or drinking in public or loitering around the little bodeguitas in the corner, you might have in Brickell, it might be traffic and loud music. So each neighborhood kind of is unique unto itself, and they get policed in a different way.
Every neighborhood is unique. We in my district, I have Little Haiti, I have the Upper East Side, I have Midtown, the Design District, Liberty City. Commander Williams is my commander in Liberty City. Commander Lawrence is my, did I say his name right? Lorenzo is in Little Haiti. I have Commander Chinqui in the Upper East Side. I have Commander Baker in Overtown. Am I missing anybody?
And Cooper. You have Cooper in Overtown as well, who's helping out.
Okay, and Commander Cooper was in Liberty City. Correct. Then he got a promotion, and now he's in helping out in Overtown. Yeah. But they're all great, and I think having a relationship with them helps me also serve the community. And is that unique to Miami, or does?
So a lot of departments, they might call them something else. I think Miami-Dade has the Neighborhood Information Unit, the NIUs. So they have semblance of something very similar that has, very deep roots in community policing, but the way that we're set up with the commanders in each distinct neighborhood, it's kind of unique to Miami from what I've seen, especially in major cities. A lot of major cities, they don't have the manpower or the breakdown that goes so deeply into the community engagement model. They're more concerned about calls for service and kind of addressing violent crime. Since we've been fortunate enough that we've already got a very solid foothold on violent crime, and we have seen precipitous reduction. So where we have more time on our hands now to do the stuff that cops really like doing. The community engagement, the going to the community meetings. Like you mentioned before, we have the Police Athletic League where these guys go out and it brings cops and athletes in on their positive environments. I mean, we have an incredibly successful tackle football program. I want to say that our under-9 were national champions the year before last. They had a great run last year as well. So we're looking forward to this year, but we have track, we have cheerleading. We really want to expand just our resources kind of break there.
The Explorers program. You have the Explorers program.
Which is like a little bit of a police training in the making, right? So you have folks from, I want to say 13 to 18 or 13 to 19 that are preparing to kind of learn what is it all about policing, right? So they go out there, they do policing competitions, they get trained on policing tactics and strategies. So it kind of serves as a breeding ground for future police officers that are going to be the ones that take the mantle as we move forward.
Now, if someone is interested in becoming a part of like the Explorers program or the PAL program, how could we get that information to them?
So the best way is to go to our website, which is miami-police.org. And in our website, miami-police.org. And you have the links. You click on community relations, or there's a search button. You can put Explorers, you can put Police Athletic League, you can put the Citizens Academy, where we bring folks from the community for 6 weeks, and we break it down over the weekends, and we kind of let them peek behind the curtain of the police department. We let them see how it is to, do a SWAT operation, how it is to, process a scene with CSI, how it is to, be a dispatcher and handle the volumes of call and send the officers on priority assignments on the field. So
I think you should promote that more, the Citizens Academy, because once the citizenry understands what happens behind the scenes, I think they'd be a little more empathetic. And you're doing a fantastic job, and you're not at full capacity for staff.
Correct.
And we're trying to hire more officers because we have officers retiring, and we need to build the force.
Yeah.
But I do believe that you're doing an excellent job with the resources that you have currently available. And I'm still on you about adding to Marine Patrol.
So we just did last Sunday, the 29th, September 29th, we added 2 more that will be handling a little bit of the workload on the Miami River. We've seen the popularity of the Miami River that has gone from what used to be a chemical cesspool to now a
destination.
A destination in the
All
city
you
of
see
Miami.
are yachts and
The
boats and parties.
But those yachts and boats and parties kind of sometimes encroach on the peace and tranquility of some of the residents around. So that has become one of our number one complaints. So we added an additional Marine Patrol unit that will be there from Wednesday to Saturday. So it'll be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights from 5 p.m. to 3 a.m. right on the mouth of the river to kind of bring a little bit more semblance of order and a little tranquility to the citizens. Listen, we want everybody to go out there and enjoy.
Absolutely.
We want you to go have a good time. Miami is definitely a party destination. I don't want anybody to think otherwise, but we want to make sure that we're respectful to the rights of others, right? That's why we have policies and
safety.
We have our ordinances and our laws to kind of keep everything in check and make sure that we have a great time without, affecting the quality of life of the folks. So.
As we should. We're going to the segment of my podcast where I ask you a series of questions so people can get to know you as a person.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite book?
So right now I'm reading. It's the name escapes me, but it's I just went to a class and I learned about the importance of sleeping. Right. And I have an absolute horrible time sleeping. Right. I sleep on my side. My shoulder falls asleep, so I'm waking up and I get up and I'm kind of fidgeting all around. So I started using my Apple Watch to track my sleep and my deep sleep and my REM sleep. So I'm reading a book on the importance of sleeping, and one of the things kind of touches on in the book is the impact that shift work has, right? And I worked midnights for about 15 years. Half of my career was spent on midnights, and I loved it. I think that's where, you can do the most good out there, where people that need the help. I mean, a lot of the other social services are not around, so the police is the do-all, be-all for everyone. So you have an ability to kind of help folks in a lot of different areas. But it is very harmful for you, right? It messes up your circadian rhythm. And it kind of throws you out of Zoom. But I'll let you know the name of the book, but I got it around the night table. I'm getting about maybe 5 or 6 pages a day in there.
Well, I understand the significance of sleep. I am a 7 to 8 hour sleeper every night. I'm very intentional about my sleep. I gave my staff a challenge in September. You know how we do our challenges, and I challenged them to sleep 7 to 8 hours for the month of September, and I met my goal. My average was 7 hours and 4 minutes, I think. There were some wonky days there that I got like 5 hours of sleep. Because my schedule, but on average, I sleep 7 to 8 hours a night.
Are you tracking the sleep?
Oh yes, I do a lot of dreaming, and I'm in a lot of deep sleep. I hit the numbers.
Really?
I hit. There's a range. I hit the range.
Man,
I hit the range almost every day.
I'm slacking on that deep sleep. I'm getting maybe about 35 to 40 minutes.
No, I cover. I'm in REM sleep like 2 hours, and I'm in deep sleep an hour and change.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm a sleep.
When the body heals, that deep sleep is the body.
It really does. Sleep is restorative.
Oh, yeah.
Sleep is restorative. Do you have a favorite song or a theme song?
So I just, as you know, because you were there, I just recently got married, so
to a lovely young lady, Miss Erica Morales now.
Absolutely. So John Legend Wild. As a matter of fact, my executive officer, David Valentin, recommended to us, and once I heard it, I was like, man, that kind of captures that encapsulates my feelings for this incredible woman to a T. So that's been one of my go-tos lately.
Oh, okay. If you could have dinner with anyone, living or dead, who would you want to break bread with?
Jesus Christ.
Really?
Absolutely. I'm not a hugely deep religious person. I do believe that there's an absolute higher power. I do believe things happen for a reason. I grew up Catholic. My mom is a devout Christian. But it is one of those things that you're like, I really, really want to sit down and dive deep into and ask the questions that everybody wants to know.
Yes.
Is there you believe it, but wouldn't it be awesome if you could get that absolute certainty? Is there a heaven? What's happening? How did it go throughout his life, the challenges that he faced? So, I mean, I think that would be fantastic to have the opportunity to
I
sit
think
down.
you are almost I think you're the only person that has answered that question.
Really?
With
I always
Jesus
thought about,
Christ.
if I could sit down and talk to him, it'd be give me a little bit of an inside track on what's happening in the afterlife,
Yeah. Or say, hey, am I tracking in the right direction?
Do I have to put my longevity, my everlasting life into my watch?
And what do you do to relax? Because you have the highest stress job ever. How do you relax?
So, believe it or not, exercise and my absolute go-to is the sauna. So we have a sauna at the station, and I go in there for 20 minutes. I put in some meditation music, and everybody know, all the officers that go in there and use it kind of know, hey, that's the chief's time to kind of reset, to hit the absolute reset button on it. That I find that for me, that is incredibly restorative. It kind of brings my body back into balance. Even if I'm beginning to feel a little bit sick, if I feel like a little scratchiness in the throat, you get in there, it raises that body temperature, and let me tell you, I feel like $1 million when I get out of there. So
I like the sauna. I only get to use the sauna when I'm on a cruise, though, because I don't have a sauna at home. And
that place that it's over there by the boulevard where we used to do the yoga, they have now, I want to say they got a sauna and they got an ice bath.
I want to do an ice bath.
They have it.
I want to do.
So we did.
Every day I take a shower. When I'm finished the shower, I turn it to cold.
I try.
I've got that now. I have that now. Yeah. I spend, because the cold takes inflammation out of your body. So I've created that habit. But when I'm out of town, I still do it. The cold water in Miami is different from the cold water in New York.
Oh yeah, it is, man. The cold water here is like hot.
Right.
I take pretty much cold showers. I sweat a lot, so
yeah.
But I try to put it to the max, and I'm like,
no, I put it to the max. I put it to the max. Yeah. Okay, last question. If you could give your younger self advice, what would you tell your 18-year-old self?
Education first. So I graduated high school. I was not a great student. I was a late bloomer. So I graduated.
So was I.
I graduated high school, and I decided to go to the Army. But while in the Army, I had the opportunity to go to college for free, and I didn't do it.
Oh.
So I did my 4 years in the Army. I got out. I became a cop. And then you go to work midnights, you go to work weekends, man. You're always exhausted. You're working overtime to try to make more money. You're working the off-duty jobs or the extra-duty jobs. So I didn't get my bachelor's until 2008, and I didn't get my master's until 2017. So if something would have been, it would be like, get that out of the way. Because I really, right now, I would love to get a doctorate, but I'm exhausted.
Right.
So I don't know if I have what it takes to do the job justice.
Right.
And get, to, get the degree with the sense of pride that would bring me the joy. So if I would have started sooner with my other higher education, it would have been...
With less responsibilities, too, because it's harder. You're working, you have a family, and
Absolutely.
You're balancing everything. I was a non-traditional student as well.
Really?
I was a knucklehead, and I thought going to the beach was more important than going to class.
Well,
and,
everybody needs a little rest and sun and sun.
It turned out well, but I went, I got my law degree. I was older. I'd already had my family, I was working full time, and that made it very challenging. So that is good advice. But everybody's path is different. We turned out okay.
I think not too shabby.
Not too shabby.
Not too
We
shabby
turned
at
out
all.
okay.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you for being a guest on the
Thank you for
Kingdom
having me.
Podcast, where all voices are heard and we discuss everything Miami. Thank you again for joining me, Chief.
Thank you.